My fiancé's mistress moved next door. She had no idea what was coming. I was halfway through my shower when the doorbell rang. I ignored it. It rang again. Wrapping myself in a towel, I opened the door to find a woman standing there. Hi. I'm your new neighbor. I think I left something at your place yesterday. Mind if I grab it real quick? Before I could respond, she brushed past me and headed straight for my bedroom. I watched in stunned silence as she emerged holding a lacy red thing, her cheeks flushed. Sorry about this. My apartment's water was shut off yesterday, so I had to borrow your shower. Hope you don't mind. She left with her underwear, and I sank onto the couch, trying to process what just happened. Then my hand touched something sticky and foreign. A used condom. Chapter 1. My stomach lurched violently. I barely made it to the bathroom before I was sick, heaving until there was nothing left. That's how Marcus found me when he got home, hunched over the toilet, pale and shaking. Sarah, baby, what's wrong? His eyes were full of concern as he helped me up, handing me a damp washcloth. Are you sick? Should I take you to urgent care? I searched his face for any sign of guilt, any crack in his perfect mask of worry. We'd been together since high school. Surely I was being paranoid. A pair of underwear and a condom didn't prove anything. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe I was jumping to conclusions. My eyes were red-rimmed as Marcus helped me to the couch, pressing a glass of water into my hands. I'm fine. Probably just something I ate. Marcus and I had grown up together in the same neighborhood. I shouldn't doubt 25 years of history over circumstantial evidence. I forced a smile. Really, I'm okay. Don't worry. Our wedding was in a week. Nobody wants their engagement to implode days before the ceremony. Marcus stroked my hair gently before heading to the kitchen. Let me make you some soup. I nodded, watching his retreating back, breathing in the comforting smell of chicken broth that soon filled the apartment. I was scrolling through Instagram when the doorbell rang again. Sarah, can you get that? My hands are full, Marcus called from the kitchen. I dragged myself off the couch and opened the door. The neighbor was back. She scratched her head sheepishly. I haven't had dinner yet. Any chance I could join you guys? I smell something amazing. How did someone who just moved in feel comfortable enough to invite themselves over for dinner? Before I could form a polite refusal, she'd already linked her arm through mine, holding up a bottle of wine. I brought this. Can't show up empty-handed, right? Come on, it'll be fun. She practically dragged me inside. Marcus emerged from the kitchen with a steaming pot, his face a picture of forced calm when he saw her. Who's this? He asked, though something in his expression shifted. The woman chirped brightly, Hey Marcus. Your girlfriend invited me for dinner. Hope that's okay? Marcus's eyes found mine, and I didn't hesitate to correct her. I didn't invite her. I pulled my arm free and pointed at the wine. Also, I don't drink. I've never been one to bite my tongue. I didn't believe Marcus was oblivious to this woman's intentions. Either he was waiting for me to play along and smooth things over, or he genuinely didn't see the threat. But I wasn't going to pretend. I stared at Marcus, waiting for him to choose. Chapter 2. Growing up, whenever a third person tried to come between us, and there had been many, Marcus always had the same response. Sorry, but Sarah comes first. Always has, always will. I watched Marcus now, waiting. I watched as the neighbor's eyes suddenly welled with tears, her lower lip trembling. I didn't mean anything by it. I just borrowed your shower because my water was off. I bought wine to say thank you, that's all. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Why are you being so mean? Is this how you treat all your neighbors? I held my ground, eyes fixed on Marcus. He rubbed his temples, then did what he'd always done, walked to the table, took the wine bottle, and handed it back to her. My fiancé doesn't like surprises. I shouldn't have let you use our shower yesterday. That was my mistake. You should go. The woman cried harder. We didn't do anything wrong. Why is she making this into something dirty? As if I was the problem. But the condom on the couch and the red hair I'd found, identical to hers, told a different story. I didn't know when Marcus had become the kind of man who'd let a stranger into our home, into our bathroom of all places. 2 people alone in an apartment. Who knew what could happen? The woman turned to me, tears streaming. I was just trying to be neighborly. You're seeing things that aren't there because your mind is twisted. I just moved here, I don't want problems with my neighbors, but you're being horrible. By her logic, I was the villain. Marcus had already asked her to leave, yet she stood there crying, putting on a show. For whom? I looked at her coldly. Fine. I'm horrible. I opened the door. Now get out. This time, she had no choice. She stomped her foot and fled in tears. The apartment fell silent. Marcus looked at me with disappointment. Sarah, don't you think you went too far? Marcus and I had been inseparable since we were kids. He'd asked me to be his girlfriend the day our SAT scores came out, booking the entire rooftop restaurant at the nicest hotel in town. He'd said, trembling with nerves, Sarah, will you be my girlfriend? Not just for now, but forever? I'd thrown myself into his arms, crying. We'd been the couple everyone envied. Now he was defending a woman who'd lived next door for barely a week. You know how important reputation is for a woman. What you said could make people think she's trying to be a homewrecker. Sarah, Marcus brushed past me, his shoulder colliding hard with mine. I stumbled back. I stood by you to save face, but that doesn't mean I think. You were right. He stormed out, slamming the door. I stood alone in our apartment, staring at the cooling soup on the stove. Was I wrong? Was I overreacting? As doubt crept in, my phone buzzed. A friend request from a stranger. Chapter 3. My heart pounded as I watched several video clips from the anonymous account. In the first, Marcus sat on our couch with the neighbor, candlelight flickering between them as he spoke in a voice dripping with affection. Happy Valentine's Day, baby. They kissed passionately. They did things in my home that should only happen between people in love. They made waves in my bathtub, water splashing over the edges, while the neighbor's laughter rang out bright and clear as she posed for the camera with Marcus. Our first Valentine's Day together. Can't wait for many more. I watched the woman document her affair with my fiancé. She asked him sweetly, will living next door cause problems? Marcus's face was flushed with alcohol and desire as he pulled her close. Never. Sarah and I have been together forever. She'd never suspect a thing. I'll protect what we have. The video jumped to the present, the woman sobbing in Marcus's arms while he comforted her. Sarah can be harsh. She cares about me too. Much. Don't take it personally. I promise I won't touch her anymore. I'll save myself for you. The woman wept harder in his embrace. But she knew something was wrong the moment she saw me. She hates me just for existing. She hates me and I didn't even do anything wrong. I watched Marcus's face fill with sympathy as he soothed her. I'll spend the next few days with you, okay? The video ended. A message appeared, think your wedding's still happening next week, Sarah? My hands were numb. The trembling spread from my fingertips through my entire body until even my teeth chattered. My perfect love story, the man I'd trusted completely, had been performing the cruelest deception. I forced myself to breathe, to think clearly through the devastation. I saved every piece of evidence and sent it all to my best friend Melissa. Marcus and I are done. When I was 16, I caught my father with his secretary. When I confronted him, he just threatened me to keep quiet, convinced my mother would fall apart if she knew. I didn't believe him. I told her everything, crying. She jumped from our apartment balcony the next day. I lost my mother. I effectively lost my father too. At 16, I became an orphan in all but name. It was Marcus who held me together, who promised me, Sarah, even if you lose everything else, you'll always have me. Now I'd lost him too. I sat in the coffee shop, watching Melissa rage at the videos. This bitch isn't even that pretty. Marcus turned down the homecoming queen for you, and he throws it all away for this? Melissa's anger grew with each word. I'm calling him right now. That's it. We're not taking this lying down. Chapter 4. Melissa's hands shook as she dialed Marcus. As always when we fought, Melissa would step in to defend me, and Marcus would take his scolding like a man. But this time, it took 10 tries before he answered. Sarah, I know you're listening. His cold voice came through the speaker. Do you always have to drag other people into our problems? Is this really how you want to handle things? Can't you act like an adult for once? Marcus's tone was dismissive. This is just making things worse between us. Sarah, don't make me regret proposing to you. He hung up. Melissa. Exploded. That piece of shit. Say that to my face. She tried calling back only to discover Marcus had blocked her. Melissa was ready to drag me to his office, but I remembered our wedding was next week. I'd spent 2 years planning every detail, from the centerpiece flowers to the playlist. Now I laughed bitterly. Suddenly I understood my father's words. Sarah, don't tell your mother. She'll only get hurt. My father's voice merged with Marcus's. Don't make me regret marrying her. Every man makes mistakes. Why would anyone choose boring stability forever? My father's face blended with Marcus's. A life without excitement isn't worth living. Something inside me finally broke free. I grabbed my purse and stood, meeting Melissa's eyes. I've made a decision. What decision? The shadow that had haunted me for years finally lifted. I smiled at Melissa. I know what I need to do. I've been tying my entire worth to being loved by someone else, I said, tears finally falling. But the person I should love most is myself. My mother's last words to me were, Sarah, if someone hits you, hit back harder. Never let anyone walk all over you. Live fiercely, for both of us. I looked at Melissa, saw tears in her eyes too. Marcus betrayed me. Marcus gaslit me. Why should I be the one who suffers? I was never weak. My mother's death had made me build walls around my heart. Marcus had slowly dismantled them, made me soft. Now he'd shattered that softness himself. The night before the wedding, Marcus called. Sarah, I'll pick you up tomorrow. No more tantrums, okay? Understood? I listened to his condescending tone and almost laughed. We'd already moved everything out of our shared apartment. He'd been too busy with his mistress to notice. I didn't respond. Marcus continued, we're getting married. You need to stop acting like a child. I heard a woman's voice calling him sweetly in the background. Marcus. He immediately said, I have to go. Chapter 5. On our wedding day, Marcus stood at the altar, eyes full of love as he watched his bride approach in white. He reached for her hand tenderly. The lights suddenly went out. When they came back on, the room erupted in chaos. The screens around the venue played Marcus and the neighbors' intimate videos on loop. Oh my god. That's not the bride. Who is that? The other woman? The Hartley family looked mortified. Marcus. What the hell? Is this? Marcus felt his world spinning. He looked at the bride desperately, and she lifted her veil. It was the neighbor, not me. Marcus stared in shock as she screamed, Sarah. You fucking bitch. You tricked me. Chapter 5, continued. The screens showed the woman's taunting messages to me, including. Even if you figured out Marcus and I are together, so what? You're just going to pretend nothing happened. I heard about you, your dad cheated and your mom killed herself because you exposed it. Someone is damaged as you should have followed your mother. Stop clinging to Marcus. Marcus's phone rang. With my custom ringtone. He frantically checked his phone to find my message, enjoying your wedding gift? Marcus tried calling me desperately, but couldn't get through. The venue descended into complete chaos. Guests demanded answers from the Hartley family. They could only pressure Marcus, who was frantically looking at the woman who'd tricked her way into the bride's position. You knew Sarah wouldn't show up, didn't you? You drove Sarah away. The woman had thought Marcus truly loved her. When I'd agreed to step aside, she'd eagerly accepted, even gloating to me. I'll be a better wife than you ever could be. With me here, Marcus won't even remember you. Exist. Watch me become Mrs. Hartley while you get left behind. But she didn't know that when Marcus was 13, he'd tried playing hero and nearly got beaten to death by a gang. I'd grabbed a baseball bat and charged in to save him, fighting off his attackers while crying. Marcus. You said princes have princesses, and princesses have knights. Well, I'm your knight. I fought off the dragons, wake up, my prince. I'd waited outside the ER for 2 days until he was wheeled out, promising through tears that he'd protect me forever. Marcus had said, Sarah, you saved my life. As cheesy as it sounds, my life is yours now. We'd been inseparable since birth. No one could replace that history. I wanted Marcus to understand that I was no longer the girl who needed him to survive. I could thrive without him. I watched the wedding footage Melissa sent. Marcus stood on the altar, demanding to know where I was. The woman suddenly laughed. Marcus, you said you loved me. You said if it weren't for Sarah, you'd marry me. You promised. I watched her complete breakdown. You said when Sarah left, you'd choose me. We were going to have 2 kids, remember? Now Sarah's gone, shouldn't you be happy? The woman's makeup ran with her tears. But Marcus showed no sympathy. Instead, Mrs. Hartley slapped her across the face, screaming, you ruined everything between Sarah and my son. Marcus. Mrs. Hartley was devastated. How could you do this? You promised at her mother's funeral that you'd take care of her. Is this how you keep your promises? Chapter 6. Mrs. Hartley and my mother had been best friends their whole lives. When I was bounced between reluctant relatives, it was Mrs. Hartley who'd paid them off and brought me home. She'd wanted nothing more than to see Marcus and me together. Now, watching the endless loop of betrayal on the screens, she shook with rage. You're despicable. Marcus remained deaf to his mother's fury, to the woman's desperate shaking, to the guests' mockery and his family's humiliation. All he could hear was my message echoing. Enjoying your wedding gift? He suddenly remembered that broken 18-year-old girl he'd held after she'd nearly jumped from the same balcony as her mother. He'd sobbed. Sarah, please don't leave me. He begged, you still have me. Please don't go. Please don't die. I love you, Sarah. I love you so much. Please don't leave me. I'll never betray you like your father did. If I do, I deserve to die. Just give me a chance to love you. That year, he'd carefully pieced together my shattered heart. He'd watched me transform from fierce and independent to gentle and dependent on him. But looking at the new, softer me, he'd found himself missing the wild girl who'd fought for him. So when the neighbor appeared, so different from who I'd become, he thought he'd found excitement again. He thought keeping a secret affair would add spice to his life. He'd always known he only loved me. The neighbor was a distraction. Not love. Never wife material. So he turned to her, you put that underwear in my apartment deliberately? You left the condom for Sarah to find. You met with her before I came home, trying to provoke her. No wonder I'd been so upset that day. No wonder I'd been sick in the bathroom, crying and retching. He'd found me desperately scratching at my throat, sobbing uncontrollably. He'd imagined many scenarios, work stress, difficult colleagues, memories of my parents. Never once did he consider that his promises had become prophecies. He'd sworn, hands raised to heaven. If Marcus Hartley ever betrays Sarah Chen, let him lose her forever. Let him be destroyed. I'd done both. Made him lose me and destroyed his reputation. I closed the laptop, done watching the drama. Melissa, however, was riveted, screenshotting everything for her social media. This is the best karma I've ever seen. Cheater gets left at the altar, Mistress shows up in the wedding dress. I'm dead. Melissa showed me her phone. You're trending. Listen to these comments. Chapter 7. I was working catering that day. The groom literally ran out of the venue, and the mistress chased him down the street in the wedding dress. Queen behavior. Using your own wedding to expose a cheater. Sisters, take notes. Late update, I know this guy. He's been looking for his ex like a madman. She's apparently traveling the world while he loses his mind. Crazy or not, I didn't care. Melissa was paranoid though, watching me like a hawk, convinced I'd secretly contact Marcus or cry over the photos. She tried everything to keep me distracted. Until I got a call from the Hartley family. Mrs. Hartley was in the hospital. Dying, asking to see me. Melissa begged me not to go, but I remembered how she'd saved me from my relatives, given me a real home. I took the next flight back. Walking into the hospital room, I locked eyes with Marcus sitting by the bed. I saw his eyes immediately fill with tears as he stood. I ignored his burning gaze and sat beside Mrs. Hartley, taking her frail hand. Sarah. Her voice was barely a whisper. I don't have much time. Whatever happens between you and Marcus, I won't interfere. But please, don't blame me. Mrs. Hartley had late-stage pancreatic cancer. The arms that once held me were withering away. My eyes filled with tears too. I told her to fight, to stay positive. After she fell asleep, Marcus followed me out. Sarah. He stood before me. Can we talk? There was nothing to discuss. We'd ended too messily. Sitting across from him now was nothing but awkward. I watched him start and stop several times before finally asking. Sarah, if I promise never to do it again, would you forgive me? I knew everything already. How on our wedding day, Marcus had run every red light racing back to our empty apartment, clutching my torn wedding photos while sobbing. On the floor. I'd seen the security footage of him sitting there like an empty shell, not answering calls or messages, laughing and crying by turns until his mother broke down the door and dragged him to the hospital. I knew it all. Thanks to the cameras I'd installed because of the neighbor. Otherwise, I'd never have known he was suffering too. Marcus. I met his eyes calmly. We can't go back. After that day, the woman tried to contact Marcus repeatedly. Chapter 8. She kept begging Marcus to take her back, convinced my dramatic exit was what made him obsessed with me. So when she saw us talking calmly in a coffee shop, she lost it. She stormed over and pointed at me. Sarah. Why are you back? She positioned herself as the wronged party. You and Marcus are over. I'm the one with him now. Why are you here trying to seduce him? Who do you think you are? I looked at her rage, watched her transform from confident to desperate. I stood up and slapped her across the face. You never had the right to speak to me that way. Remember, I stepped closer, I walked away. Without that, you'd be nothing but a homewrecker forever. A roach everyone steps on. You talk about seduction? Are you clean? Her face flushed red as she raised her hand to strike back, but Marcus caught her wrist. She stared at him in disbelief. She hit me. Didn't you see? I was just standing here. Are you blind? But instead of sympathy, Marcus shoved her away. She fell to the ground as he said coldly. Get lost. I watched Marcus, remembering junior year when the queen bee targeted me to eliminate competition. She'd had her friends corner me in the bathroom. Marcus had burst into the girls' bathroom like today, grabbing her wrist in warning. If Sarah gets hurt because of you, physically or mentally, I'll make your life hell. That day, he'd carried me to the hospital. I'd felt his racing heartbeat, seen his worried frown in the moonlight, felt completely safe. In his arms, I heard him anxiously ask the doctor, is she okay? The doctor had looked at my barely there scratch and chuckled. Your boyfriend's very protective. We both blushed. That night, Marcus had promised. When I heard they took you, I lost it. I thought, screw the rules, screw everything. If anyone hurts Sarah, I'll walk through hell to protect her. The moonlight had illuminated his burning sincerity. Sarah, I promise to protect you. I'll always protect you. Past and present Marcus merged. I didn't know where we'd lost our way. I heard the woman's hysterical crying. Begging Marcus to look at her. He only had eyes for me, saying, I'm sorry, Sarah. I broke my promise. I looked at his desperate hope and replied calmly, I can't forgive the betrayal I suffered. Because you'll never understand how completely I fell apart that day. So if possible, let's not see each other again. Chapter 9. After all, just looking at you reminds me of my father. Marcus went pale. I waved to Melissa waiting in her car. I'm here. Coming now. Getting in, I saw Marcus still standing there in the rearview mirror. Melissa cursed, what an act. Did someone hold a gun to his head? And make him cheat? Pathetic. She rolled up the window. Stop looking or I'll gouge your eyes out. I turned away from the mirror, laughing at her fake fierce expression. Yes, ma'am. She burst out laughing too. When I visited Mrs. Hartley again, she was barely conscious, sustained only by pain medication and sedatives. The night she passed, the entire Hartley family was in chaos. After helping with the funeral arrangements, I realized Marcus was nowhere to be found. As I prepared to leave, the family approached me. Sarah. For his mother's sake, please talk to him. He's dying. Marcus had collapsed after his mother's death, surviving only on 4 fluids with no will to live. Seeing him reminded me of my 16-year-old self. Broken. Withered. Lifeless. Just waiting for the end. I approached his bed. He kept his eyes closed until I spoke, Marcus. He finally opened those eyes that had once made my heart race, now empty as broken bellows, no stars left in them. Your mother would be heartbroken to see you like this. Marcus remained motionless. I pulled out a video Mrs. Hartley had recorded while lucid. Sarah, can you forgive Marcus for my sake? He's my only son. I have to think of him. I see how much he loves you, but... She couldn't continue. I'd calmly recounted discovering the betrayal. I thought I would die. Marcus has been my entire world, my faith, my support. He knew my fears and weaknesses, yet he let them wound me, watched me bleed, and did nothing. There were signs. I once found a flirty text on his phone. He said it was a client's daughter, told me not to worry. So I didn't. I trusted him. My love wasn't meant to be a weapon against me. After a long silence, Mrs. Hartley had wept. My son, what will become of him? Even dying, she worried. Only about her child. I watched Marcus finally react and told him. Even if I forgave you for your mother, do you really think we could go back? Marcus, stop lying to yourself. Every time we'd kiss or make love, I'd remember you did the same with her. I'd remember her in your arms. I'd remember my father's betrayal, my mother's blood. Chapter 10. Marcus. Let's both move on. He never responded before I left. As I closed the door, I heard muffled sobbing. I knew Marcus would understand eventually. Melissa and I planned a cross-country road trip. Before leaving, she complained. Only you would be soft enough to go. We should have struck while the iron was hot, become influencers, made bank as the ultimate revenge story. I watched her plan our empire from her plane seat. We'd have money and men, living our best lives. Not like now. She sighed. No fame, no fortune, just regular people. The cheater lived, the mistress vanished. What a waste. I stuffed chips in her mouth. Good. She nodded. Then shush. She protested, pointing at the chips, more. Yes, Your Majesty. That's better. Epilogue. The day Marcus left the hospital, he visited Sarah's mother's grave. He remembered standing there in the drizzle years ago, watching 16-year-old Sarah with no light left in her eyes, terrified she'd disappear if he looked away. So he'd sworn before her mother's headstone. I'll take care of Sarah, I promise. If I fail her, let me lose everything. Let me lose her forever. Now he stood in the same drizzling rain, looking at the gentlewoman's photo, and broke down. I lost Sarah. I didn't take care of her. She doesn't want me anymore. She'll never want me again. What do I do? The rain grew heavier, drowning out his sobs. No one saw Marcus there, crying like a child. Melissa and I traveled everywhere. She actually managed to catch several gorgeous guys, though she couldn't seem to stick with just one. Today with A, tomorrow with B. I confronted her, isn't this cheating? She corrected me seriously, how is it cheating? This is, she raised an eyebrow, me trying to give all men a home. Too many men, too little me. Blame my irresistible charm. She threatened, Sarah. If I get caught cheating, what would you do? I raised my hand immediately, as long as I know about it, you're just talented. Date 8 at once if you want, just don't date one guy 8 times. Full support. She laughed. Then it actually blew up. One day she posted about being sick, forgot to filter her story, and multiple concerned guys showed up. They all arrived at once. They looked at each other, then started fighting over who she loved most. Somehow I ended up at the police station giving statements because of my best friend's dating drama. After our station tour, I asked, learned your lesson? She stretched. Absolutely. Never making that mistake again. The end.